rising and priming powerful beings. Shout out to you. It's the Holistic Motivator, and today I'm going to be talking about being the healer for your family, and your kids starts with you. What does it mean to be a healer for your kids and your family? Being a healer for your kids and family means that you have conscious awareness that what you do, the lifestyle that you have, and the way that you respond, and the way that you lead is going to determine the presence, and the future of your kids and your family. And it's about structuring your household, structuring your relationships in a way that is in accordance to healing and not more toxicity. So keep tapping into this episode of Ed Talks Daily if you want to tap into being the healer for your kids and your family by being a healer for yourself. This is a podcast. This is Ed Talks Daily. How do you solidify a healthy mindset that will lead to healthy relationships, healthy body, and in-tune spirit? Join me on this journey to becoming the best version of ourselves. If you want a podcast that would motivate you, a podcast that will inspire you, elevate you, and educate you on ways to personally develop, Ed Talks Daily is for you. Now, what does it mean to be a healer for your kids and your family? You know, healing starts with self. Before we could extend healing to any others, we have to create a lifestyle that condones healing. And we have to create a structure in our household that's all about healing and growth and getting better. So literally, instead of turning your home to a mental asylum or a place of toxicity, why not turn it to a place of retreat, a place of learning, a place of growth, right? Structuring your kitchen in a way where it's literally your home pharmacy, right? Structuring your living room where it's literally a place where you gather and get together, right? So we're in August, and a lot of people and their kids are getting ready to go back to school. And really, we really have to think about starting from home. Now, when we say starting from home, you may think starting from home is really referring to your house. Well, starting from home really talks to your temple. Because have you ever, inside of you, kind of like you're not really feeling it, so then you kind of like, project that to your kid, and then now all of a sudden your kid get that energy, all of a sudden they have that and they're trying to give it back. Now they're going to school and bringing that energy to school. So really, like, the way that you are literally is going to affect your child. Like, growing up, being in a certain household, certain energy didn't sit right with me, it would affect my day. Like, if I woke up and like my stepmom would be pissed off, that would cause me to be pissed off, and that caused me to act out in school. So being a healer for your kids and your family means that to some extent you have to be able to come home in yourself. So actually, being a healer for your kids and your family means that in your home, as in your temple, you have gotten yourself to a place of peace and zen. So it does not necessarily mean putting everyone's needs ahead of your own. So as the kids go back to school and we're taking care of many things, we might say, okay, if I'm going to take care of the kids, I just need to take care of the kids. Nah, you still got to make sure you're taking care of you, because that's going to play a pivotal role on how you're able to lead, how you're able to show up, how compassionate you're able to be. Because every single day you're literally checking in with yourself. So in that check-in, you're able to extend it towards your kids. You're able to extend it towards your spouse. You're able to extend that, right? So we've always heard of this thing, you can't give what you don't have, right? So if you have chaos, you're going to give chaos. But if you have peace, you're going to give peace. So let's get back to talking about creating your household to be a healing center. Now, I didn't come up with this concept, but I heard it from Queen Afua. I recommend you go listen to what Queen Afua has to say about this. She's a mother. She knows way more about me. But being the motivator, I tend to bring stuff to you in many different fashions, but it's all roots back to the same thing, right? I'm not really telling you anything different. I'm not telling you how to raise your kids. I'm literally just talking about the lifestyle. I'm talking about holistic living. I'm literally talking about structuring mental wellness, not just for you, but for your kids. I'm literally talking about the same affirmations that you do for yourself. What if you got your kids to do it with you? What if before they went to school, you spoke life into them? What if you literally sat them down and you fortified their temples by looking into their spirits, into their souls, and not being frustrated with what they're not doing, but really seeing them as a being? Just like I be telling you all the time, you got to see yourself as a being. you got to see your kids as a being, as an individual who's in the process of development, who's about to do, who God put a gift inside of them, and they're about to deliver that gift, and they got to go out in the world and face so much chaos, trouble, and things, and you need to fuel them up. Right? So what if instead of just getting them ready for school as it relates to, yo, this is the clothes you need to wear, or yo, this is your school lunch, what if you really got them ready, fortified them in a spiritual perspective? For some of you who don't necessarily homeschool your kids, right, I'm sure you be schooling at home, but after work, you don't always have the energy to really do that. Sometimes you probably just, hey, here's the iPad, go away from me, or here's this, or like, yo, you just do your own thing, right? But what if you literally made those times that you spend with your family intricately important, like in the rising or dinner? What if you made a new rule, right? After school now, or for dinner time, we got to sit on the dinner table. One of the things that changed my life during summer, I grew up Haitian, so we didn't sit in the dinner table with our mom, with our dad. It wasn't that type of party, right? But there was a season where I was staying with some people, and actually my teacher, Dr. Love, and we would actually sit around the dinner table, eat and talk, and it was actually a healing experience, right? I actually got something from that I didn't get from my household. So what if you actually said, you know what, in this season, I'm being a healer for myself means my kitchen is going to be my home pharmacy, right? My living room is literally going to be that living room, a room of life, right? And in my dining room is going to be like feeding each other's souls, right? So think about it, right? So in your dining room, you're like, yo, I'm literally not just going to eat food, but I'm going to feed the minds of my child. I'm going to feed their soul. I'm going to feed the minds of my family as I'm going to feed my soul, right? This is something that is easier for you to implement when you're the head of the household, when you're running the household. Now, it's different when you're not, right? But you can actually set the initiative, because guess what? If you cook the food, you can say, look, nah, you're eating in your room. We don't have that over here. You are the head of the household, so you got to wear the head. You got to put the hat on, and if you're a single mother, you got to put the hat on. You got to ensure that you're saying like, yo, we have a rule in this house that we eat together, and we check on each other, and we have conversation about our days, and we talk about our emotions, and we do certain things like that. That will bring, I think, in this school year, that would bring so much families closer together. It will bring so much mothers closer to their sons, so much fathers closer to their daughters, so much mothers closer to their daughters, and fathers closer to their sons. And it will bring siblings closer to each other. Like, what if you had certain activities in the dinner table where you're literally saying, look, we're going to sit, we're going to eat together, we're going to talk about our days, but not only are we going to sit, we're going to eat together, we're going to talk about our days, we're going to play certain games around the dinner table, right? Creating that environment is actually beautiful, right? What if for breakfast time, you literally said, look, we need to link up for at least 5 or 10 minutes, and let's do these breathing exercises, let's do these affirmations, let's get ourselves together before we go, let's read this scripture, let's do a prayer together before you go to work, right? All of these things are things you could do with your family. Now, not all of us, I don't have a son, I don't have a daughter, right? These are things that literally, in my own wisdom, I can actually think about, I can express them to you, right? But how can we do that for the people we love, right? How can we do that for our friends, right? Because family is not just your kids, it's not just your mama, your sister, your cousin. Look, even if, let's say you don't have your immediate family next to you, you stay by yourself, right? You can make it a ritual to call people at certain times in the rising, to call people a certain time in the evening, the people you love, the people you care about. Yo, I know you're eating dinner here. I'm not eating dinner with you, but yo, how was your dinner? Like, how was your breakfast? Look, let's speak some life into those people you care about, right? So those are some ways you can actually extend that, literally putting your family first, right? Because it really starts with your family, right? Nobody, like, some families may be dysfunctional, but at the end of the day, they're still your family. And sometimes your friends are more family than family. However, find those important people in your life and make them a priority. So let's go back to being a healer for your family, and your kids start with being a healer for yourself. Now, let's talk about how you eat, right? The way you eat is actually not only going to determine the energy of the child, the vibrant, whether your child is vibrant or depressed, It's going to be determined on whether you feed them life or you feed them things that cause them to be depressed. So now you might say, like, what? Yeah, literally in the food that you eat, what you accept for yourself is not what your kid's going to accept, right? You might say, man, my kid don't like this. They want this. They want that. Look, if every time your kids say, I want some hot chips, you get them, you know, you literally screwing up their gallbladder. You might have to say, like, okay, maybe this hot chips ain't gonna be good for you. Maybe I'll get you some potato chips that has jalapeno in it, that has only 5 ingredients on the label, because you're a kid, you should enjoy chips. But you want to give your kids better options, right? You want to actually create a standard for your family, because they don't have money. Some of them don't have money anyways. Like, they don't have that bread. You gonna be the one who's spending money on them. So you dictate what you buy, right? So how you eat is going to determine how your kids eat. So sometimes, like, we can literally break generational curses. Like, if like in your family there's a series of depression, there's a series of different things, like literally how you feed your kid is going to be able to do that. Because bad foods, as we know, toxic foods creates inflammation in the body, right? So you might be wondering, my kid can't focus at school. I want my kids to get good grades. I want them to go to good school. It's going to be start with the medicine you give them every day, right? And whether you really like, you let them go and eat that school lunch that's really trash, or you really think of different ways to get them what they need so that they can bring their lunch that's going to be healthier. Like, these are some things you could do for your kids and your family, right? How you, like, going the extra mile for them can go a long way, teaching them those habits. Now, your kids are going to be grown. Some of them are teenagers, going to make their own choices at the end of the day. But really, like, like what you learn in the beginning of your life is what you adopt. And until a switch happens and they say, okay, I'm going to choose differently, whatever you gave to them early in childhood, this is what they're going to keep going with. So, like, your mama and your sister and your cousin could have been, like, passing down diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, the gout. I had posted this video, and literally that could have been a culture in your family. And then you're like, yo, my whole family is big bone. Now you see your kids are starting to get big boned. Or there's the opposite version, skinny but not healthy, right? Because skinny doesn't mean healthy, right? And all of these things affect your kids mentally. So you're like, bro, I need a better relationship with my kids and my family. Well, it's going to start with your medicine cabinet. I want you to hear that. It's going to start with your medicine cabinet. So your medicine cabinet means what you put in your kitchen, what you put in the refrigerator, whether you fill it up with sugar, or whether you fill it up with, right, whether you fill it up with high fructose corn syrup, or whether you fill it up with healthy juices, fresh juices, whether you fill it up with fruits, or whether you fill it up, like, all of these things are going to determine how your kids behave. They have discovered there is a strong correlation between behavior and diet. There's a strong correlation between behavior and diet. That means the way your kids behave is in direct proportion with what types of food that they eat. Right? So you like, man, my husband ain't acting right, or you ain't acting right, right? You got to change your food. You got to change the way you eat. You got to educate yourself on that, and you got to educate your kids. But when you are the bread maker in the family, you literally buy those things. You shop, right? I'm not telling you not to let your kids be kids, but let them be kids in a healthy way where they can enjoy stuff, but you're making shifts. You can feed your kids ice cream, but make sure it's that vegan ice cream. And you're like, why that? Like, why give your kid a bunch of dairy, right, and clog up their arteries? Why give your kids, like, for instance, let's take cereal and milk, for example. You sending your kids off to school. What if you broke the habit of cereal and milk? And some of you may be like, ain't nothing wrong with cereal and milk, but really cereal and milk is one of the biggest scams. As kids are going back to school, I want you to know, cereal and milk is one of the biggest scams for kids. They actually causes them to be more, like, cereal and milk causes more diseases in kids. Like, you saying, like, yo, my kid has ADHD, ADD. Literally, they're sugar hyped, right? Sugar, like, cereal, the reason why they came up with that was, and the reason why they kept saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day, was not because they was trying to save you and help your kids be healthy. They literally said, we want to make money. Right? So why don't we get them addicted to the most addictive substance on the planet? And why don't we put what they like, cartoon characters, TV shows, and so that they can be, oh, Tony the Tiger, right? Why don't we trick these people into getting sugar and empty calories in a bowl with milk and form mucus, and then send them back to the hospital, and then make sure that they get a vaccine before they go to school. It's all a scam, right? So then now you know this, and your kid is like, mommy, daddy, I want cereal. You're like, nah, we don't eat cereal in this house. And they're like, what? We don't eat cereal. And you explain to them why cereal is a scam. And then now you try to introduce them to fruits. You're like, no, we're not doing dairy in this house. Like, this is not how it works. Look, it's your rules, it's your laws, like literally. And just, it's gonna be your rules, your roof, your laws. And there are healthy alternatives to cereal and the rising that you can give your kids. You don't have to give them. What if you even taught your kids that breakfast is breaking your fast? And I'm not, because kids have to go to school early, so some of them they have to eat. But do you think your kids should be eating like at 6 a.m.? What if you actually kind of help them learn how to eat a little bit later? Like, you may be like, damn, I'm starving my kid. No, you're not. You're actually not starving your kid. What if you taught them to take these fruits, I want you to eat it in between the class. Take this food, I want you to eat it at lunch. What if you actually gave them smoothies? They would love smoothies, right? Because maybe they don't eat lunch till a certain time and they can't really go that long period. The kids have to burst energy, so maybe they have to eat earlier on. What if you made them a cacao drink with banana and mixed berries that you got from Whole Foods that are organic? And you kind of got your kids on smoothies or vegetable juice. You kind of switch their lifestyle around. And then on the weekends, you treat them with nice gourmet breakfasts that they can actually enjoy, right? You got to switch your mentality about, because the culture is a culture. And it's not necessarily meant to keep your kids healthy or keep you healthy. It's actually meant to make money off you. It's actually a cycle to get you sick, to get you to the hospital so they can make more money out you, right? So once you understand that and you start changing your mentality, you start seeing through the matrix. So now you're not buying your kids no doggone Capri Suns, because you know ain't no sunshine in the Capri Suns, right? It's just sugar and flavor, right? So now you're like, yo, we're going to get you orange juice. We're going to get you cranberry juice. We're going to get you fresh juices. And they're like, the kid likes soda. So you're like, okay, guess what? We're going to get you fresh juices. We're going to get you some carbonated water. Let's mix it. Let me teach you how to make your own soda, right? The kid love candy, so you teach your kid how to make candy, right? You got to teach your kids because they don't know better. That's why they don't do better. And if you just go with the culture and you just go with the synthetic stuff, or you just go with the packaged stuff, or you go with guess what's going to happen? They're going to adopt that, and they're going to be a kid. They're going to be kids. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to be adults. They're going to love those gummy worms, right? There was a time where it was like nostalgia for me to go and buy me some like hot chips with the hot chips and the gummy worms, and I like the lifesavers. And I'm an adult with clear wisdom and knowledge that this ain't good for me. And I was like, wait, this is a tie back to childhood, right? It's a nostalgia, right? Like, you remember, like, some of you maybe it'd be Twinkies or Turtles. I don't know what was your thing as a kid, or what was that thing your mama got for you. Now, as an adult, it became like literally a struggle for these kids, right? And kids are losing their gallbladders. Kids are getting depressed. Kids are full of anxiety, all because of what they eat. So literally, you can be a healer for your kids and your family based on how you feed them. How you feed their mind, how you feed their body, and how you feed their spirits. And that's going to be through how you educate yourself, right? So I like what I Am Surviving Vegan has been talking about, detox your kids. And some people have been coming after her. They've been saying like, bruh, this is child abuse. How is it child abuse to make sure that your kids are not getting toxins in their body, right? So don't let the culture convince you otherwise, right? And some people also think like, yo, what if you put your kid on an intermittent fasting schedule? They might not like it at first, but if you teach them these things young, they might actually start to love it, right? So you say, man, we don't actually eat solid food. You didn't eat no bacon and no grits and none of that before 10 a.m. Like, you eating fruits. Like, this is what we offer. Like, and you find other ways to make it very more like, you make it to what they're like, to what they would enjoy, right? And then when you do give them like grits or something, like you fix it up and you give them scallops with it. You do some grits and scallops. Like you do some stuff that's healthier for them, right? Even the choices of eggs you use sometimes, because they're still kids. Like, it would suck if I never had eggs you might say, okay, we don't have eggs, but at least give us some vegan eggs. Let them try some. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like, bruh, stop your kids from eating everything that every kid is eating and having them eat broccoli and Brussels sprouts for breakfast. You know, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like find ways to make it fun, right? You like, bruh, the kid is craving some hot wings. You like, man, let's see if we could saute the cauliflower that tastes like hot wings. They literally got that sauteing cauliflower that tastes like hot wings. You're literally teaching your kids and your family how to eat and sustain healthy living. You literally teach them different types of mushrooms and things like that. You giving them shiitake mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, and you literally teaching them different ways. And from time to time, even some tempeh. Some people say you can get the fertilized tempeh. So some, like, you don't want to get too much soy, but you know, give them that bacon, right? Not bacon, but it's called is it tempeh or tofu? Tempeh bacon, right? You season it in a way where it tastes like bacon, but it's not bacon, right? So you put your kids on these things, but you can't put your kids or your family on until you put yourself on. And the only way you put yourself on different ways of eating and turning your kitchen into a pharmacy. I wouldn't even say a pharmacy, but turning your kitchen into a health center, right? In a way where you feed it, right? Where you're teaching about teas and herbs and various things, and you're making it fun for yourself and your kids and your family. You know, this comes with education, right? This comes with seeking. This comes with a Google search. This comes with a YouTube video. This comes by searching vegan recipes. This comes by searching like literally the information is out there. But you have to be a seeker of that information. And what I do is I motivate you to seek. I motivate you to think different. I motivate you to empower yourself and your family. I just motivate you for these things, right? That's what I do. I'm the holistic motivator. I motivate you to live holistically, to structure your lifestyle in such a way, right? So other things have to do with movement, right? Making movement a priority. Kids got a lot of energy. Your family has a lot of energy. Your husband, your wife, your boo thing got energy, right? And to burn this energy, right, you could turn exercise into a bonding activity. Where literally, remember how the dad would go play catch with the son, right? Literally, you can go out, how the mom would go to the playground with their kids, right? Even if your kids are teenagers, they might not want to go to no playground with you at this point. But you can say, let's go bowling. But you can say, let's go play this. But you can say, let's do that, right? At these activities and then having fun. You can actually take your kids to the swimming pool, to the gym, right? Doing things like that with them. Then you're creating a culture of wellness, right? Even with your boo thing, with your husband, with your spouse. Like, yo, you tell your husband, you tell your wife, look, baby, let's go to the gym. Let's have a sexy workout. You know what I'm saying? Let's go in the basement. Let's have like literally you can actually turn the stuff that you think, oh, I got to do it, to stuff you want to do, because it becomes a date, right? It becomes a date with your kid. It becomes a date with your spouse where, like, yo, we're all going to get together and we're going to play dodgeball. It don't cost you nothing to play dodgeball. Or we all gonna get together, we're gonna play volleyball. It don't cost you that much to do that. Let's go get some sacks and let's just do a sack race. Like literally, like, what, ask your kids, what do you do for field day? Let's have our own field day. So now you're turning your home into physical fitness, you're turning your home into spiritual fitness, emotional fitness. Like you are transforming everything about your family. You're teaching them that holistic lifestyle because you and yourself, you're making it a priority. Right? You're not just focused on, I need to make the money. Like, just because I'm feeding you, nah. You got to make sure you're feeding your kid, your family, spiritually, emotionally, physically, right? You're doing all of these things in alignment. Now, these are ideas for me, right? They're ideas for me. I can't implement them right now because I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. Right? But God still blesses me with great ideas. Now, if this idea rings true and you're like, oh, okay, I can actually, this is just basically what he's saying is extend your lifestyle to your kids' lifestyle and find ways to implement it. That's all I'm saying. Right? I don't have kids to do this with, right? But if my niece come over here, guess what I'm going to have her do? I'm going to be like, niece, let me get you in the garden. Let me teach you how to do that. Right, so I know how to implement it with the kids that I can impact, right? I know how to implement it with the kids at the schools that I can touch and I can reach, right? I know how to teach them that. So I'm just suggesting, let's to start healing the kids and the family, you have adopted a certain lifestyle, a certain mindset, and certain things that you do, and then now you just don't do them alone and for yourself. You say, let's do this together as a family. So that's pretty much the message of the day. I thought it would be wise to really talk about this as we get back into school, because I know I reach a lot of mothers, and I just want to empower you that you are doing the best that you can up until your level of growth. And the more you grow, the better you'll be able to do, right? And you got to understand that selfishness is actually selflessness. And by selfishness, I just mean doing stuff for yourself is actually going to benefit your kids more. Doing telling your kid, look, I need an hour from me right in the morning. I'm sorry, I love you, but I need 30 minutes, right? That's actually going to be able to prime your mind where you're not just frustrated with your kid. You're able to be a counselor. When you're educating your kid, when you educate yourself on your traumas, you're able to listen to you know what? I'm responding based on some childhood thing. Do I want to perpetuate this cycle? Nah, I don't want to perpetuate this cycle, right? So the more you do the healing and the self-work and the motivation, the more you're able to be in your gifts, be in your purpose. You're able to see that in your kids. And the next time your kid come to you and say, Mommy, I want to do that, you don't tell them nah, just go to school and get a job, right? Because that's what my parents did to me, right? When I tell them my dreams, they don't fuel my dream. They don't empower my dreams, right? They just tell me how I'm not going to make it in that. But when you are able to change your mindset, you're going to be able to give your kids something different. So personal development, holistic health and development, that's what you need to focus on in this season of your life the most. And the more you're able to do that, the more you're able to extend that to your family. The more you're able to learn about the herbs. When your kid comes to you and says, Mommy, I'm sick, or Dad, I'm sick, or Dad, I need some advice, you are able to be a counselor for them. When a kid comes and say, Mommy, I'm feeling mucus in my body, you understand how mucus is formed. Or Mommy, I'm bloated, you know how to deal with that. Or I got this thing, a herb, that you became the doctor for your kid. You can become a healer for your kid because you are a healer for yourself, right? You're not responding to your kid who's depressed with, oh, go eat something, or look, you got this over here, you should be grateful. Nah, you can actually, you're not saying you should be grateful. Let's be like, yo, let's take some time to be in gratitude. Let's take some time to appreciate it. Let's breathe with me. Let's sit down and let's do this, right? So you're extending out your healing towards your kids' healing. So your healing journey become their healing journey. Your growth become their growth. Your learning become their learning. And you're able to merge that into an environment that just allows your family to blossom. And then you literally think about, too, here's another thing, final note. As you build your empire, and what I love about the Chinese and what I love about certain cultures is that they literally say our family is actually a entity, a business, right? And if the mom has a company, if the mom has a business, they put their kids in their business, right? They actually hire their kids because there's a tax benefit to that, right? They actually pay their kids because and what you're creating is you're actually equipping your kids with information on how to run a business, how to be part of a business, and you actually learning how to get benefits from the state. Right? So even in your dream, don't look at your kid and be like, oh, you're too young to be part of what I got going on. Oh, I got a business, but it's my business. Nah, it's our business, right? Literally put your kid in position to take over your entity. Teach them the process. Get them to read these books. Don't just let let me tell you something. The public system is not meant to educate your kids, to empower them. They're actually meant to teach them how to be a slave in the system. I'm just going to tell you straight up. You think you send your kids for education, you send your kid for programming. Unfortunately, that's how it is. I would tell you to homeschool, but the way it's set up for most people, you can't necessarily do that. But the education system is not necessarily set up to teach your kids to be empowered. They actually teach your kids to shut up and listen to the authorities. So you have to, especially if you're an entrepreneur, be the one to teach them that aspect. You include them in your brand. Give them something to do. Right? Whether you sell this stuff, help them package it. Whether you have this stuff, teach them something. Help get them in the marketing. These kids are good with social media, right? So, some people are like, yo, I'm going to hide my kids away from social media. Nah, give them a role where they're promoting you. or give them a role when they're promoting themselves, teaching them about branding. But you can't teach them about branding if you don't learn about branding, right? Teach them how to be like how to present themselves well in the world and not just go out here doing all types of stuff on social media. Because either ways they're gonna end up on there, right? And of course, you can't just, oh, you're 3 years old, here's an Instagram. Sometimes if the kid's 4 years old, you could start an Instagram for them and manage it for them. But you can't always just like, here's your Instagram. But you got to understand, at some point they're gonna get on there. So what if you actually taught them that this is not a space where you just go on TikTok and do dumb stuff? Why don't you be intentional about your gift and let's share your gift? Identify the kid's gift early, right? And be able to help them create a brand for themselves no matter what stage they are. And to each kid his own ability to recognize their talents. But to each adult is your wisdom to see in your kid before they saw it in themselves, right? Look, my parents did not necessarily see in me before I saw it myself, but they saw potential in me being great. They actually did, but they didn't see specifically what I could do. And to this day, they still don't see it. And it's weird, right? So I got to give that to myself. But as a parent, you can do that to your kids. If you see your kid has talent, like if you knew what you wanted your parents to do it for your kids. Like if you see your kids really good at that, they're really good at this, you should empower them to be good at that. You should create a structure to be good at that, right? You should create an environment of coaching to be like that, right? That's why I'm actually starting something for kids where I can have mothers and fathers introduce me to their kids, where I'm actually creating little courses and little videos just for them to help with their personal development, to help with their mental health. Here's another thing. When I was in high school, I heard this guy called Eric Thomas, and I watched a video in 11th grade, and E.T. was like, if you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe, only then you'll be successful. I went home, I was like 14, 15 years old, and I put that on my wall. And when I put that on my wall, I created a different mindset for me. And look, I'm doing what Eric Thomas did for me. Like I legit, a teacher showed me a video with a motivational speaker, and now I'm a motivational speaker empowering people. Like how powerful is that? Right? Somebody planted seed in me early on. So part of teaching your kids is introducing them to the right people. Part of teaching your kids is like, yo, let's do Qigong with the holistic motivator. Part of doing your kids is like, yo, let me let you listen to this. Watch this video real quick. Like, let's watch this video together, right? And that's why one of the reasons why I try to keep my stuff PG is because I want mothers to watch this stuff with their kids. I want fathers to listen to this stuff with their sons. I want to be able to impact the whole family in a way where, it's different. It's good. So those are just some of my few tips and suggestions and wisdom bits based on my current level of growth so far. And I'm sure as I get my kids on my own, as I grow, as I become better, I'll have better insight to share with you. But everything is only an extension of what you have, and literally everything you've applied for yourself, literally apply it to that little adult. Okay? A lot of times we say that's a kid, but that's a little adult. That's somebody with their own thoughts, with their own vision, with their own gift, and God has a plan for them just like they have their plans. So they're not just a little kid. They're not just a small little being. They're actually a being. Like they're soon to be somebody in society that's going to do great things. And even as in their youth, they can do great things right now. In fact, your kids could do great things right now. Right? So give them that nurture and structure that environment so that they can do great things. So that's my message, and I'm sticking to it. It's the holistic motivator, and I want to shout out to all the fathers, all the mothers, all the sons, all the daughters, and I wish y'all to have a great back to school. And remember, school is not necessarily a building we go into. School is the house. School is life. School is everywhere. Everything is school, and school is in everything. So with that being said, remember, you have the unlimited power in you to achieve whatever it is that you want to do, to create a healing environment in your home. But first, you got to believe it as it's possible, that you don't have to repeat the past, that you don't have to repeat whatever happened. You can actually choose how you dictate what happens next, right? So with that being said, I want to remind you of that power, and I want to remind you to let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. for those of you who've been enjoying the podcast, such as Gretchen, Victoria, such as Sherelle, who's tapping in, I really, really need your support. Like, it's one thing to say thank you, but it's another thing to give thanks. And it's not even talking about money. I'm actually talking about a review, right? You can actually go on the Apple Podcast and leave a review. And by leaving a review, you're going to be able to help me and reach more people, right? That's the goal. The goal is to empower millions of lives. The goal is that God spoke to me and he gave me a gift and he said, I need you to do this in the world and I need your support to do it. So I want to ask everybody who's been a constant listener of the podcast to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Because guess what? Apple Podcasts and Spotify is going to spread the message around when you go and leave a review and you write something. You don't just do the 5-star. You write something like, thank you, Ed, for the podcast. I appreciate you. Or this podcast changed something. Or this podcast got me going. Whatever it is true to you, just write something on Spotify or Apple Podcast, right? Even if you're watching the replay on Instagram, remember every live video that I make and I say, you're tapping into Ed Talks Daily is a podcast episode. So this video is a podcast. And by going to edtalksdaily.com/reviews, you're going to be able to leave a review for the podcast. So be sure to go leave a review. Show me your appreciation. Don't just tell me your appreciation, because then that says, no, look, I don't just say thank you. I give thanks and I help. I do whatever I can in my effort. If it's not with my money, but with my time to help you propel forward. So I really, really need your support. I really would like for you to go on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Now, if you go to edtalksdaily.com/reviews, you can actually leave a review through there. But I don't want you to leave a review on the website because it doesn't do much. Right? I don't care if people say, oh, this is great. I care when Apple Podcasts and Spotify shares it to these families. I care when Apple Podcasts, when somebody discovers it and they were going through a really tough time and they were really about to like, yo, I don't know if I can live anymore. And then they heard a podcast of Ed Talks Daily and they said, look, I got more to live for. That's why I do this, right? Because if I did this for money, I would not do this like I did it. I would charge you for everything I do. But I do this because I have a gift. I have a purpose. I have a divine purpose. And I want this to reach more people, not for my ego. I'm already blessed. I already know how great I am. But really, I just want this message to reach people. I want to impact people. I want to touch souls. Like, that's what satisfies me, is when somebody's soul is touched, when somebody's life is changed, when I've added deep value to it. Because if it was about the money, I wouldn't be doing this. Honestly, I don't get paid for doing this. So I just want to remind you, I really ask for your help to go support the podcast by going to edtalksdaily.com/reviews. For all the mothers, the fathers, the sons, the daughters, this was a powerful episode on healing your kids and your family by healing yourself. I totally recommend that you go back and listen to it. We watched the live video. Come back on my Instagram profile when I post it later and tap in. And for those of you who are listening, you could go to edtalksdaily.com/324. When it comes out on Wednesday, you'll be able to listen to it. But however, this is how you never lose touch with the podcast. I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to get out of here. You want to go to edtalksdaily.com and subscribe on your whatever platform you listen on. And if you don't have a platform, you can download one, or you could just go back to edtalksdaily.com whenever you want to listen. Right? Subscribe to the podcast. You're always going to get the audio, the video, and everything that I got going on. And if you like it, review it at talksdaily.com/reviews. If you love it, donate at talksdaily.com/support. So that's my message, and I'm sticking to it. And one last message. If you want me to text you some empowering text messages, text EdTalks to 561-510-9605. Text EdTalks to 561-510-9605. Remember, let your light shine. Don't hide it. Don't dim it. It's the Holistic Motivator, and I wish you have a blessed rest of your day. Peace.